There's one thing we can all agree on. The U.S. needs to deal with the homelessness issue. The question is how. California, perhaps more than any other state, struggling with a growing homeless population. Since 2019, California has spent more than $17 billion. $17 billion to curb homelessness. But if you've been to California lately, you've noticed it's not getting any better. In Sacramento County, there's been a recent push by the sheriff's office, deputies hitting the streets to offer support and services, speaking to nearly 200 homeless people recently, but only one accepted an offer for help. Joining me right now, Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper. Welcome to Morning in America. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, and your hometown misses you.
Thank you. You know, it's so funny. I think the last time I saw you in person was when you were Elk Grove mayor.
Yes.
It's been so long. You've served on the California Assembly. You've done quite a bit. Newly elected as Sacramento County Sheriff in 2022. You know, something that you're doing that's new is treating the homeless not like an exceptional group, but treating them like any other residents when it comes to crime, specifically sexual assault. This is a new tactic. Can you talk about that?
Sure, Adrienne. That's something no one's ever talked about. We hear a lot about the homeless, but no one ever talks about sexual assault. We went out and contacted a number of individuals, and we had 150 instances of unreported sexual assault. Think about that, unreported. And we know sexual assaults on women are always underreported. No one ever talks about that at the city level, the state level, or county level. And information, data is really the key, and it really is driven. And talking about those issues and making sure you're protected, whether you're housed or unhoused, you deserve to be safe.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, like you've told me in our pre-interviews, the number of people who are abused, the number of people who are assault victims is staggering within the homelessness population, which should be further fuel for all of us to do something about it. But even with short staffing, which a lot of law enforcement agencies have faced, you have deputies on the streets talking to homeless individuals. What would you share from what you all have learned that politicians and advocacy groups just are not talking about?
Well, number one, being homeless is not a crime. People have to consider it that way. We treat it that way. If you want help, we want to help you. One of the things people never talk about is the fact that people refuse service. So we contacted 714 people during our operations. 31 were considering help. Only one accepted services of any kind, and that's a big issue. And we don't never talk about mental illness or substance abuse. We cannot build our way out of this. California as a state has spent $20 billion on homelessness. It's gotten worse. And someone that has a mental illness can buy a substance abuse problem. 2 + 2 = 10. So we've got to address those problems with that to really make a dent in it.
In terms of why the homeless don't want help, I mean, my mother's a social worker with the County of Sacramento. She's told me these stories. So what you're saying isn't a surprise to me. But for viewers watching at home, and for anybody who thinks this is incompassionate, I want you to say what the homeless have told your deputies about why they do not want help when you tried to get them services, when you tried to get them into shelter or homes.
And just a wide variety of reasons. A lot of mental illness out there, and it just runs a gamut really on the mental illness. And then a lot of folks use drugs and or alcohol to try and soften or make it easier on themselves. And they can't make a rational decision with that. So help is offered, and the advocates never talk about that. They never talk about those issues that people refuse services. Those of us in the business, we know that happens on a daily basis. And how do you really change that narrative? We've been so heavy on housing, that's not going to work for someone. That's why it's not working. Until we offer a more robust mental health system and also rehabilitation for substance abuse, it is not going to change. This polls at 94%, Adrienne. 94% of the public wants something done. And up till now, government has not done a good job.
No, and if you drive through the suburbs, I mean, you don't have to just be downtown where it literally looks like there's a tent city again in downtown Sacramento near the WX freeway. But on the City of Sacramento's website, and I realize you're the county, but there's this FAQ page, and one of the residents asked why a homeless encampment near their house wasn't cleared out. And I think a lot of people are wondering, how can these shopping carts and tents just be right in the middle of a community and not be cleared out immediately? But there was a response on that website for the city saying that there was a ruling in 2018, and at present there were a greater number of persons experiencing homelessness than there were beds and shelters. And so the city cannot enforce a law prohibiting public sleeping or camping on public property because of a lack of shelter. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.